Okay, here we are. Oh, so let's get started, I guess, huh? So if you've read that big long description, you know why we're here. To test this Tamiya panel line accent color on different top coats to see how it reacts with different top coats and different processes. Hey, there's Jeff. What's up, Jeff? So just to show you first what we're dealing with here, this is a paint mule, but it's a old Revell Spitfire. It's got some recessed lines here on the horizontal stabilizers that haven't been monkeyed with. So basically this stuff is really thin enamel with really fine pigment, and it works really well. What's in this stuff? I think it's benzene, xylene, and mineral spirits. Ethyl benzene, xylene, mineral spirits, and pigments. So yeah, it's bad stuff. And it tells you right on the bottle, don't put this on enamel paint. So that should be your first clue that it's enamel or some sort of enamel. Actually, that xylene and stuff is pretty wicked stuff. So if you see I'm just touching it there and it's running down the panel line, that's the idea. So that's what I've done here on all my test pieces. So I did that about 10 minutes ago. And let me get this out of the way totally. So what I've got, these are pieces of 30,000 sheet plastic that I just cut and I scribed. I scribed them all by hand, but I tried to make them all the same depth and width. So we have an even comparison. They've all been painted with Tamiya buff. And then I put various top coats on them. So this one here has no clear coat on it, obviously. Well, I guess I got to do it this way because the camera's backwards. Anyway, and this one has Future. I wrote Future on here, but it's actually, it hasn't been called Future for years, as some of you know. It's actually this stuff. Pledge Floor Care Finish. Okay. And then this is Tamiya X22 Clear, which is their gloss clear. Tamiya numbers, X's are glosses, XFs are flats, just for trivia's sake. This is XF86, so that's Tamiya's flat clear. This is Alclad Clearcoat. I don't know if this is even available anymore, but this was their enamel clear coat. Contrary to popular belief, everything that Alclad makes is not a lacquer. As far as I know, all the clears were enamels. I know they have an enamel paint line now. I think just the metallics are lacquers, but that's a whole different discussion. And this is Tester's 1260 dull coat out of the spray can. These were all airbrushed except the Future. The Future was put on with a hairy stick because that's how I do my Future, because it doesn't airbrush well. It brushes on fine, but it doesn't do well on the airbrush. But these three were airbrushed, and this one's a rattle can, because there's nothing better than rattle can dull coat, in my opinion, for a flat finish. Been using it for decades. It works every time. So that said, like I said, I painted all these last night. I put the clear coats on this morning, and I put the panel liner on. It's been about 15 minutes now. And I got some cloth here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through each one of these and see if they start coming, if the paint starts coming off, or see what happens, see if we get any weird reactions. So I'm going to use two different products, and I'll tell you why. I could have used a third, but there's no point. So anything like a lacquer thinner or an MEK, forget it. It's just going to tear this stuff up. You're going to just strip the paint off the whole thing. You're going to take it all the way down to the plastic, no matter what you got on it. One thing I forgot to mention, I thinned the Tamiya with alcohol, not lacquer thinner. So we're not dealing with, there's no lacquer here except for the dull coat. Okay. But what I have here is I have clean strip paint thinner, which is, looking at the MSDS, it's like 95% mineral spirits and 5% other stuff. So I'm going to put some of that in here. And I'll be honest with you, I have had unpleasant things happen with this stuff doing washes, so I'm not really sure what to expect, which is interesting because it's not really that much different than the other stuff that I'm going to use that works fine every time. So let me take this one that doesn't have a clear coat here first and see what happens. Now you can use a Q-tip or whatever. I like using a cloth if I can. And typically, they'll tell you go front to back. I like to go diagonal across the line so that you're not actually rubbing down the crevice and just wiping the stuff out, which is pretty much what I did there. So this appears to have worked okay. I'm not sure. It's stained. It's stained pretty good in here. I don't know if you can see that. But it actually, it left some staining there. Like I said, there's no top coat on this. So let's put that one back. Now let's grab the one that has the future on it and try this here. And this is working a lot better. Yeah. A lot better. I don't know how well you can see what I'm doing. Is this light too bright? How's that? That's better, huh? Sorry. I have a lot of light because I'm old and I can't see. Okay. This honestly looks pretty good. There's a little bit of staining in there. Whoops. So this is going to be a problem. So there's a little bit of staining, but it seems to stay in pretty good. You know, some of this where maybe because my lines aren't great, that my scribing wasn't deep enough or whatever, but I tried to keep it at a fine level of scribing. But bottom line, with the future on there was a lot better than with nothing on there. Now this one is the Tamiya X22. So let's see what happens here. Now this is working really well. Okay, that was about perfect. Can you see that? That worked really, really, really well. And there's no, I don't see any tinge of anything on there. So that's Tamiya X22. That with this clean strip mineral spirits. That worked really, really, really well. This is Tamiya Xf86, which is Tamiya's flat. Again, everything was thinned with alcohol, not lacquer thinner, so as not to, you know, you put the lacquer thinner in the Tamiya and it sticks really well. to plastic. But the whole point of this test is to see if things start coming off. So I didn't want to do that. So I used the alcohol. And that worked really well also. It appears that it may have come out of the panel lines in some places. So, you know, maybe the gloss, it stays in the lines better. I don't know. Okay, this is the Alclad Clearcoat, which was their enamel gloss, which, like I said, I'm not sure if this stuff's even available anymore. But one thing I should have talked about is you can tell on the stains on these things that I put that some of them were a lot easier to get the panel line accent color into the panel lines than others. Some of them flowed a lot better than others. This, it's okay. It's not. I'd say this came out about the same as the Tamiya Xf 86. And this here is the Tester's 1260 dull coat. This is pretty typical of what I do, is I just do it on top of the dull coat. I change it up once in a while. I don't always do everything the same way, but I do. I love dull coat. Really like my dull coat. So, but again, that looks like it didn't stay down as well as the other one did. Okay. Moving on. Well, I'm interested to see now what happens with the Terpenoid here. So what I'm going to use next is Terpenoid, which is a trade name. It's made by a company called Weber, and it is, you know what, I'm just going to use the same one. I wiped it out. It is, look at into the MSDS. It's just pure mineral spirits, which is great. That's what we need. So basically that other stuff is kind of like diluted mineral spirits, and this is just straight up mineral spirits. So if you went to the hardware store and got some paint thinner that said it's 100% mineral spirits, then I believe that's what this Terpenoid is. I don't know that. Don't quote me on it. But it seems, looking at the MSDS, that that's the case. And I can tell you right now, this is not working anywhere as well as the other stuff did. It's working, but I'm definitely having to scrub on this, which is a problem if you're working on something that's delicate and it's leaving staining. That's not gonna fly, so to speak. All right, moving on. So this is our one that's got that was coated with Future. As you can tell, the Future, I had a really hard time getting the stuff to flow in the panel lines. And my guess is because the Future probably filled them in. But maybe not. Now this is interesting. Okay, this is working pretty good now. Once I got it wet, it started working pretty good. Okay, that's not bad. I'd say there's still a little bit of overall staining, but not as bad as the side with the other product. So that looks pretty good. That's, in my opinion, that's acceptable. So that's not bad. Let's try our X22, which I'm expecting to come out really well. Just based on what happened with the other product. Oh yeah. There we go. And our XF86. I mean, this is a good test because I'm kind of surprised. I'm glad I took the time to do this because it's not really what I expected. Okay, this is working well, but it's really a lot more. I'm putting a lot of pressure on this. And it came out well, but this was a lot easier. A lot easier. Okay. Our Alclad Clearcoat ALC 310. Like I said before, I don't know if you can even get this stuff anymore. And I really kind of expected it to start coming up. Well, I need to, oh, look at that. That's still sticky over here. That's interesting. So it did reactivate the clear coat because it's sticky. Okay. So definitely not, enamel clear coat, definitely not recommended. I'm going to finish it here, but yeah, definitely not the way to go. And our tester's dull coat piece. Like I said, I do this with tester's dull coat a lot, and I never considered it a problem, but now going through this, no, that came out really well. That one came out really well. Okay, so let me get this out of here and we'll take a look at these. The reason I decided to do this is I was seeing all kinds of comments on Facebook lately about washes and weathering and different stuff, and washes is kind of a big thing, and it deals with paint. And the thing about paint in this hobby is it's all over the place. We got all kinds of paint. Yeah, that thing's sticky. We got all kinds of paint, and they're all different. And so the first thing I would tell you about paint is find something you like and stick with it and learn how to use it, and quit getting drug into trying all this new stuff. My opinion, but that's what I think. You know, pick something and learn how to use it well. That's really going to benefit you in the long run. But anyway, getting back to this. So when it comes to these washes, and the reason I'm doing this like this is it's really important to understand that the chemistry matters, and all the paints have different chemistries. So they all react to different things differently, as we've seen here. So that's really the thing, the big takeaway from this is the details matter when it comes to paint and what you're trying to do. So when you're having a discussion about, well, I did this wash and it's peeling up my paint. Okay, well, what kind of paint? What kind of top coat? What'd you make the wash out of? What are you removing the wash with? All of that stuff matters. So anyway, back to what we got here. So this is our piece at just the Tamiya buff, thinned with alcohol with no clear on it. Not great. It's stained in various places. This is not going to come out without scrubbing so hard you're going to take the paint out. So lesson number one, definitely you're going to need a clear coat. This is the one that was done with the Pledge Floor Shine, aka Future. It looks okay. It's a little stained. My biggest complaint with this is it appears that it had filled in some of the panel lines, maybe a little bit, so we did not get product all the way down into the lines. So it worked, not the best. This is our Tamiya X22. This looks great. I didn't do the center line. That's why that's like that. But the rest of it, it looks like you took a ruler and a pencil and drew lines on the painted surface. It looks really good. I have no complaints about that at all. Tamiya Xf86. This again, it looks pretty good. It appears that using that kind of diluted mineral spirits, I'm guessing it's diluted mineral spirits. You don't really, it's hard to tell what's in it when the MSDS isn't clear. But it seemed to pull out some of these from some of these lines. It's not as clean as the X22, and that's probably because it's flat, a flat surface. But it's acceptable. It looks fine. This is still better, but there's nothing wrong with this, in my opinion, other than, you know, back here where it came out of the recesses. This is the All-Clad Clearcoat. So as I said, this is an enamel gloss, and it's, I don't know if you guys can see it, but the gloss is coming off. Definite no-no. So if you're using this stuff, you cannot use an enamel clear coat. I knew that. I wanted to try it anyway, just for experimentation's sake, just so you guys could see what's going on. This is the Tester's dull coat, the 1260 dull coat out of the spray can. It worked well with the Terpenoid. It doesn't seem to work well with the other product. The other products seem to suck it out of the panel lines. But the Terpenoid side looks pretty good. It's a little stained, but not bad. Like I said, I do this a lot. So it's really interesting for me to compare this to this. I would say it's a little bit more stained than even the Tamiya flat. So what have we learned? We've learned, one, you need a gloss coat. Two, it can't be enamel. So these guys are out. Three, the future works, but not great. The Tamiya X22, the Tamiya gloss, seems to be, if I had to pick a winner, I'd say that's definitely it. And the Tamiya Xf86 clear flat and the Tester's dull coat, the 1260 spray can flat, I think these guys are pretty even. I don't see a whole lot of difference here. I think it probably came off of the Tamiya clear flat easier, but these are fine. So in my opinion, either the Tamiya's, the X22, the Xf86, or the Tester's dull coat all work pretty good. The future, I don't know. I mean, I like future. I'm on the I guess the pro future camp. I guess I don't have any real issues with it, but honestly, now after doing this, I may not use it for anything other than canopies. I'm really impressed with this Tamiya X22. It worked good. Worked really good. Oh, hey Ken, thanks. So that's really it. That's all I wanted to kind of show. And like I said, this isn't just about washes. This is about paint chemistry in general. You really got to watch what you're doing with your paints, and you can't just mix stuff haphazardly. I'll tell you a story. I did a Spitfire Tamiya. I think it was the old Tamiya Mark I kit. Yeah, it was the old Tamiya Mark I kit. And I had done no, it wasn't. It was the Mark V, the desert. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. Bottom line is I did the lower surface in a polyscale water-based acrylic. I did the upper, the lighter color in a Model Master enamel. I was just using the stuff that I had, right? It makes sense. In Model Master enamel. And then I did the dark earth or whatever pattern on the top in Tamiya acrylic, and I thinned it with alcohol. Well, at that time, what I would do before I went to do a clear coat or even a color coat or whatever is, or do decals and whatnot, is I had a habit of rubbing everything down with a cloth that dipped in rubbing alcohol to get all the dirt and grime and oils and stuff off. And so I had it, so I had decaled it and everything, and I was going to get all the decal solvent residue, the microsol residue off of the model. And I took that alcohol wipe and started scrubbing that stuff off and took that dark earth right off of it. and it took me a while to figure out what happened, because I had used 3 different kinds of paint. And so I had to really kind of go back and go, okay, what did I do? But and I had to like touch it up and whatnot. And the pattern's not right, but it looks fine. But anyway, so there you have it. I'm going to call the winner the Tamiya X22, followed by the Xf86 and the Tester's Dull Coat coming in a close second. Well, maybe not so close, but they're definitely even. And as I said, I think I expected the future to do better. I'm not going to say I'm disappointed. It just, my expectation was for it to do better. So definitely clear coat. Definitely don't use enamel, and gloss is better, right? I think that's right. I had some MIG enamel wash break in and seat off. Oh, wow. That stinks, Ken. When it's all put together. Wow. Well, that's it. I'm out of here. I'm going to go have some dinner and go sit with the family. And I hope this was helpful. I'm just trying to put some content out there that's useful to people. And this was something that, like I said, I saw a lot of chit chat going back and forth. And I thought, you know, let's do this, because I'm kind of interested to do this too. So that's it. Hey, everybody, have a great night. And we'll see you next time.